So first, I'll have Lisa pull up our slides for us, but just kind of wanting to first just talk about why we wanted to develop this series. So we know that coalition members know their work and the purpose of the coalition, but it's often hard to know how to present that to the wider public. And then this series will help your coalition to share the work and allow for people to discover why they should pay attention to you. And we'll also discuss how to build connections with media representatives that you can and communicate the message that you want them to receive. And then just additionally, we in the survey I sent out to our region, we had a lot of people saying that the media sector was kind of a more difficult one to engage. So we thought this might be helpful. Some of the later sessions will cover more of that kind of topic, but just another reason that we thought this might be helpful for everyone. And then just to kind of go over what the session today will be like, it's going to be a pretty interactive session, but you can participate as much or as little as you would like. So in the next 45 minutes, we're going to go through the initial steps of trying to generate media attention. And we're going to be using an example of a resource fair, an AWY Thanksgiving resource fair. And then we'll kind of build upon that throughout the workshop. And then we hope by the end of the session that you'll have a template to be able to publicize for an event or your coalition of your own. And then before we jump into our content too, I thought it would be nice to just take a little minute to talk about some of the experiences and media interactions that people have had. I personally had a media interaction last year. It was like the first one of my role in this position or whatever, and it was definitely a little nerve-wracking, and I wasn't super pleased with the outcome, and I just thought it'd be nice to hear if people had similar experiences or can share their experiences. And Lisa Kaiser, my co-trainer for today, is a former journalist and reporter, and she is currently doing the PR and communications for community advocates, and she brings a little bit of a different perspective. So I'll have her start by sharing kind of her experience, and then we'll open it up to everyone to kind of share what their experiences and media interactions have been, negative or positive.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. I'm Hannah's colleague at Community Advocates. And before I started my job here, I was a reporter for a local newspaper for about 12 years. And I've been pitched a lot. And so I know a little bit about what it's like to try to kind of manage all the folks who want to get coverage in the media. And now that I work at Community Advocates, I'm doing the pitching. And now now I understand why people are so happy when a reporter shows up, because it's like every reporter is a victory. So Hannah and I have worked on this series to kind of share our insights and to help you understand what a reporter needs and how you can deliver it, and to help you amplify your work and build support for it.
Thanks, Lisa. Do we have anyone who wants to volunteer to share any media interactions, positive or negative?
I had one recently. This is Ellen. I can share. So I actually had an opportunity to be interviewed by CBS 58, more so about what your health department can do outside of COVID. It was during Public Health Week, so they were just kind of raising awareness for health departments. Unfortunately, that was the week that our Wi-Fi was just down at City Hall. So I was running around the room trying to get some kind of Wi-Fi set up on my phone so I could do this live interview. And then right as I'm about to go on, breaking news from Mayor Tom Barrett's office came through. So I was like, kept being pushed and pushed. But it was a good learning experience. I don't think it went well. I could say I wish it went better, but definitely I think it's something that every coordinator or coalition members especially should get more experience with.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have one.
Thanks, Ellen.
So hi everyone. I do get the luxury of working with Lisa, but I think one thing that we ran into recently was with the overdose awareness day that we had. We had a bunch of different reporters who were looking for so many different people, and it kind of got overwhelming, especially when they didn't let us know that they were showing up. And I think seeing that side of it is like, yeah, media coverage is great, but when they kind of show up random on the blue and asking questions that you weren't prepared for, or have that elevator speech done, it's kind of really nerve-wracking, especially because you want to portray your coalition and your organization in the most positive light. You want to seem the most put together. So that was something that was a learning experience definitely for me. It's like, how do we navigate media and reporters when we weren't quite sure that they were coming? So that was my experience.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. We'll definitely cover some of those answers to your questions in the series. So glad you're signed up. Any other volunteers? Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll move on to our next session or our next topic. So the first step we'll be talking about is just knowing your coalition, knowing your mission statement, and then kind of looking at the elements of the elevator speech. So we know it's always easy, or it's not always easy to promote ourselves, but it is really important to be able to talk about your coalition and the work that they're doing with clarity and ease. So a good mission statement and elevator speech are essential. Your coalition's mission statement should be reflective of the coalition's goals, and your elevator speech should be reflective of how the coalition is working to achieve these goals. And the mission statement should be consistent across all of your communication outlets. So on your website, the about section on your social media, and press releases, grant applications, and any of the other marketing materials that you put out into the community. For some of the do's of the mission statement, of course, we want to make it positive. We don't want to use like blaming or any negative framing in that. We want to make it unique, include your community's name so that people know where you are and who you serve. And then lastly, allow your mission statement to really frame your narrative. If your coalition's mission is to reduce opioid misuse, that also aids in the framing of your narrative by showing that the issue is severe enough that it required a coalition to be formed. And then going down to some of the don'ts, I'm sure you guys have heard these a million times, but just don't use jargon. Make it easy for community members who don't work in prevention or even public health in their day job. And then, of course, don't use stigmatizing language. By now, we all know that our words do matter, and we want to avoid using any stigmatizing language that could make someone feel excluded from wanting to reach out or to participate in your coalition's efforts. Any questions about those two things so far? Okay. Not seeing anything, and you guys can feel free to drop questions or comments in the chat if you do have anything. We'll be sure to monitor that. But now we'll kind of look at the elements of a good elevator speech. So we be looking at the who, doing what, where, how, and why. And those elements can, of course, be arranged in any order that fit for you to be able to clearly clarify and condense your message that you're going to be sharing, but it should contain all of these elements. So we're actually going to go through a practice together. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat for a Jamboard. If you can all click that and open that up, and then yeah, Lisa, if you want to stop sharing your screen, I can pull up my screen with the Jamboard so we can see that. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Okay, was everyone able to access the Jamboard? I'm seeing the little icons in the corner, so I think that means people are in the room. Okay, so for the elevator practice, we're gonna actually go through each of these elements. And as this is open, we also provided the handout in the email that I sent out for the elevator pitch template, and I can attach that in the chat as well. Again, let me just get back to where I can chat. Okay, so I just dropped that in again, in case you didn't get it from my email, but it will have you guys open this as well on your screen, or if you printed it out ahead of time, that's fine too. But we're gonna be going through each of these and actually have you fill out that template for your coalition. Oops, I'm already ahead on my, are you guys still seeing my Jamboard? Okay, cool, just making sure. I was clicking around a lot. Okay, cool. So for the first section in your who box, this one obviously you would write your coalition or your organization. So you can fill that in on your template. And then for your doing what, so what is your coalition working on? What issues are you trying to address? And I'll give people a few seconds to enter that in their template. And then we'll move on to the where. So what area are you serving? What neighborhoods do you work in? Where are you located? This one, probably the one that will have the longest answers are the how. So how are you trying to create these changes that you want to see? What strategies are you implementing? What programs do you have? Those kind of things in this section. And then for the why, what is your coalition's why? You can put your why if you're the person that's being interviewed, but you can also put maybe the reasons your coalition started or things like that in your why section. Okay, I am gonna stop sharing. So hopefully you got a little bit of time to start filling those out. And we'll kind of talk at the end more about what we're gonna be doing in the next sessions with those. But at least you hopefully got a head start on your template so that you at least have one developed for your coalition, and then you'll be able to reuse the template if you want to do it for a specific event. Or any specific issue that you want to share, whether it's like a specific substance or anything like that. But now I'm going to turn it over to Lisa for our next step.
All right, watch out, everyone. Here we go. All right, so now that you know, you have a better idea of how to talk about your coalition and the work that you do, at least to give a brief overview. Here we go. You can start turning your attention to your audience. Many people overlook this factor. They assume that the audience is just like them and that they understand all of the professional jargon you're using, and they think the issues that you're addressing are super important. And folks also believe that people in their audience are paying attention to current events or happenings in the community. Those assumptions are all wrong. You need to pay attention to your audience. You need to read the room and really understand who they are before you can develop your message and deliver it to them. You may have more than one audience, and that's okay. And that's actually good because it shows that you're appealing to a variety of people. So we are going to turn our attention to the audience for the AWY's hypothetical Thanksgiving resource fair. So we are going to go to a Jamboard again.
Yeah, Lisa, if you can stop sharing and then I can share my the Jamboard.
So Hannah and I came up with this idea of coming up with a hypothetical Thanksgiving resource fair to draw the community in, to give resources to help people kind of get through Thanksgiving and the December holidays without a ton of stress and also without reliance on substance use and misuse. So we're going to talk about who the audience for this resource fair is, and there's no right answer for it. And we're working from a template provided by Carlos Morales, who did some social media trainings for us last year. I don't know if some of you attended those. He has a very detailed audience analysis template, but we're just going to pull the main ideas from his example. And we're also going to send you a template for you to use after this session. So let's start with who. Are we going to use sticky notes for this or have people? Okay, great.
There we go. There's on the side, if people haven't used Jamboard, on the side you'll see a little like post-it looking note, just sticky note, and then it'll pop up on your screen and you'll be able to type whatever your answer is and then just click save and it'll show up in here. So we're going to use those, and this is just a hypothetical event, so you can just pretend you're putting this on your community. That, like Lisa said, there's no wrong answers, but she'll kind of guide everyone through that part.
Right. Okay, so for who, think about the ages of the people you want to attend, their race or ethnicity, their sex, gender, or sexual identity. Are you targeting families, youth, little kids, parents, anyone, seniors? I mean, who do you want to attend? It's okay to have a variety of people here.
We have youth, parents, community members, youth again, area businesses, local leaders like city council members, parents, faith community, educators,
All right. It's a good variety of people. And like I said, there are no wrong answers. So let's move on to the next component, and that's education. And at first you might think education, like that doesn't really matter, but it kind of does because it will determine the language that you use to speak to them. You're going to speak one way to kids, and you're going to speak one way to fellow professionals or policymakers. So if you just want to throw in some education levels, that would be great, of the people who you want to attend your resource fair.
You have elementary school, middle school, college students looking for involvement opportunities,
That's really good.
community college, trade professionals, should we move on to the next one?
All right. Yeah, I really like that. It's that's pretty detailed when you really think about that. Okay, next one, geography. This one should be pretty easy. Who are you serving? Who do you want to come to your event?
Employees, staff, students,
So like this is like very so social media yeah, so good. So which schools and which schools you want to come I listen to this great podcast. Study or
yeah, you know, these events.